Hey, hello everybody. I'm gonna record this one in English this time. It's not gonna take long. I'm going to be absolutely short and brief. I'll keep it sweet and short. So in this video, I'm gonna talk about pronunciation. I've been thinking since yesterday about spoken English. I had a lesson with a lady and we discussed the way people speak, in England, because most of you are there, and why you can't understand them. So let me try and explain to you. First, it's because most teachers and most English schools don't pay attention to pronunciation. What they teach is, grammar, vocabulary. They teach you how to form the tenses, how to construct your sentences, the meaning of the words, etc. But they don't teach you how to speak these words, how to speak them when they are connected in a sentence. So that's why when you finish some courses in English, you are still not able to talk. You have difficulties understanding English speech, and you have difficulties being understood. And I will tell you very, very shortly with a few examples what's happening when English people talk and why you can't understand them. Many of my students, have been telling me through time that they have the feeling that English people kind of smash words, stick them, glue them to each other. They skip, they omit sounds. And, they ask me, Desi, is it just me hearing that? Am I crazy? Am I the only one who doesn't understand English? And I said, no, you're perfectly okay. Everything's absolutely normal. So let me give you some examples. Have you ever wondered why we put this na when we put an article in front of a noun, of a singular noun, of a countable noun, when it starts with a vowel? For example, you have apple. So we can't say a apple. I mean, English people can't. They can't say a apple. It's difficult for them to put two vowels together. That's why they've decided to put this na. It's called neutral. This, it's neutral because when you pronounce na, you can move the tongue to whatever position you want to. It's difficult to do it with lr. You can try particularly or regular. It's a little bit more difficult to move the sound from the position where you pronounce l to the position where you pronounce r. So you see, particularly, regularly, it's a little bit difficult. While with n, with n, sorry, it's a sound, we don't have this kind of problem. So that's why probably n is here between the two vowels. So what happens? It makes it easier to be pronounced. We can't say, so we don't have to say a apple. You can try and say it, a apple, a apple. It's difficult, isn't it? It's difficult to pronounce it. So now try and say an apple, an apple, an apple, a apple, an apple, a apple, an apple. It's easier, isn't it? But what happens when we pronounce this phrase? An English person wouldn't say an apple. Sorry, apple. Let me change the font just a second. So they wouldn't say an apple. They wouldn't divide the vowels because those are vowels in that way. It's again difficult for them to talk in that way. They would do the following. They would leave a alone and put na to the next vowel. So this is the way they will pronounce this phrase, an apple, an apple. I will give you another example, just a simple one. You have the same thing here. So it will sound like it. That's the way we would say it. A foreigner would say it, but not an English speaker. They will say, I like it. I like it. Another example I've met in the books, in my students' books. So you can say, just a second, I work in an office. This is probably what you would say. I work in an office. But an English person will say, I work in an office. So, okay, let me start. In an office. This is what you would probably read. They won't read that. It won't sound like that. When they say it, when they pronounce it, it will sound like none. So it will be in an office, in fact. Why? Because it's easier for them to finish with a vowel and to start with a consonant. Yeah, this is a peculiarity of English, a part of its rhythm, a part of its melody. In an office, in an office, I work in an office. So if you expect to hear in an office separately, you won't hear them. Right, another example about short and long vowels. You know, I've been asked many times, what if I speak broken English? What will happen? People will understand me. And I said, probably. I usually say, probably. Maybe people will understand you. But sometimes they could understand you wrongly. And sometimes the mistake could be fatal, you know. For example, I will give you some example right away. Have a look at these two words. You know, I bet you all know them. So the only difference here is just the length of the sound, the length of the vowel sound. The first one will sound bitch. The second one will be beach, and they're totally different. You do know it. Bitch, beach. What about that one? Have a look at it. I'm living with my husband and I leave. So no, okay, let's put it, I'm leaving my husband. So some of you will know the difference. I'm living with my husband. So here it will be live, I live, living. So it's live, living. And here it will be leave and leaving. So I'm living with my husband. I'm leaving with my husband. Right? They both sound almost the same to, so they sound the same to an untrained ear, but they sound differently to a trained ear. For me, they will sound differently. But for most of you, you won't be able to make the difference because you don't know it, because probably nobody has told it to you that you have to be careful when you pronounce the words. What about, you know, these words? Do you know how to pronounce them? They are pronounced in the same way, and we pronounce them no. So I know you. No, I don't want any coffee, right? What else? Sometimes they skip some consonant, like if we have a word which ends in some sound and then a word which starts with the same sound, like, yeah, that's the example I can think of now. Orange juice. So we don't say orange and then juice, you know, we can't say it. I mean, they can't say that. They can't say orange juice. We skip one of the two equal sounds, one of the same sounds, one of the two same sounds. We skip the first one usually, this one. So what it becomes is orange juice. I like some orange juice. When they use a sentence where you have these her sounds, and before her you have a consonant, so it won't sound like tell him, unless they want to put some emphasis, unless they want to stress the second word. Tell him to come immediately. So if it's just a normal speech, it will be something like, tell him to come, tell him. The other one, tell him, tell them, tell him to come, tell him. You won't make the difference. You won't understand what I want to say if you don't know these peculiarities. What I wanted to say is that sometimes they don't pronounce the t sound at the end of the word. So we were listening to something yesterday during the lesson. A woman was talking about some restaurant, and she said, but I wouldn't recommend it. But I wouldn't recommend it. But I wouldn't recommend it. So if you want to understand the way people speak in most of England, okay, because we can't practice every single accent. There are many. And if you want to be understood better, it's important for you to practice pronunciation purposefully, consciously every day or as often as you can. So my question for you is, do you think you need some kind of, clarification about pronunciation? Would you like me to write a course, to give you examples about pronunciation? Do you think it will be helpful to you? I'll be expecting your comments. Thank you.